Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? My name is Daniel Moses. I'm going to be your host for tonight's webinar. We're just waiting for a few more people to join, and probably we're going to get started literally about 1 minute. How's everyone doing? My name is Daniel Moses. I'm going to be your host for tonight's webinar. We're just waiting for a few more people to join, and probably we're going to get started literally about 1 minute. Oops. Why is he crying? Sorry, for 1 minute. I think I don't know why my system is echoing back to me. Just give me 1 minute. Probably going to stop, share my slide. Oh my days. Okay. Sorry, for 1 minute. I think I don't know why my system is echoing back to me. Just give me 1 minute. Probably going to stop. This is interesting. I'm literally on one system. Okay, that's it. Great. I think I've sorted my problem now. All right, great. So guys, I was just literally, my system was echoing back to myself. So I had to kind of get rid of that. And we're going to get started now. All right, apologies. Great. So I'm going to share my slide. Great. If everyone can see my screen now, if you don't mind, can you just comment on the chat box that you can hear, you can see my screen and I am not echoing back to myself. If you don't mind, guys, just please comment on the chat box, please, just to say loud and clear. Just type in the word loud and clear. Okay, I can see and I can hear. Fantastic, Miro. Great, thank you. All right, Kevin, great. Kevin says I can hear loud and clear, so it's no longer echoing. Great. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Moses. I am the founder of Property Wealth Education, and I just want to welcome you tonight to our Property Wealth Accelerator webinar. Tonight, we're going to be taking a deep dive around the rent-to-rent HMO strategy, deal sourcing, and the BRR strategy, which is buy, refurbish, refinance strategy. So just to welcome you tonight and just to kind of obviously share who should be in this webinar. So for tonight, if you're somebody who is interested in property and you're looking for a way to get started in the property strategy, definitely we're going to be having a very good treat at the end of the webinar. If you're somebody who's looking to learn some interesting and amazing shortcuts in property investing, definitely tonight is going to be a very interesting evening. And if you're also somebody who's looking to recycle your cash and build wealth, today's webinar is going to be super, super amazing. All right. Great. So tonight we're going to be talking about the rent-to-rent strategy. We're going to be talking about sourcing. We're going to be talking about the BRR strategy. I usually would add a fourth R to it, which is the repeat strategy. Okay, so the BRR means buy, refurbish, rent, and refinance. And the last R as we go on is the repeat strategy. So one of the things I like to share before we get into the presentation is to let you know nothing good comes easy. And in order for this strategy to work, you've got to put a lot of effort and you've got to trust and believe the process. And just a little bit of a disclaimer, everything I'll be sharing with you during this course of this webinar tonight is systems and processes and knowledge I have personally used myself and to those who are currently going through our education program to build wealth for themselves. Success is guaranteed by your own personal effort, all right? I hope that makes sense to you. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Daniel Moses. As I said, I am the founder of Property Wealth Education. English is not my first language. I'm originally from Nigeria. I immigrated to the UK just about over 15 years ago. And a little bit about me, I used to be an Uber driver, turned a portfolio millionaire in the last 12 months. And I've been doing property for over the last 4 years. It's been amazing. It's been powerful. It's been awesome. And it just goes to show that if you take consistent action, anything in life can be achievable. Just about 4.5 years plus ago, I was an Uber driver taking people from one point to the other, getting paid 10 to 20 pounds literally per hour. And over the last 4 years, I've been able to now build a business valued in the region of over £2 million. I have no corporate background at all. And the reason for my success has come from passion, hard work, knowledge, and consistently getting myself educated. I have currently built a rent-to-rent business with a turnover of over $500,000 revenue just in the last 3 years alone. I currently have a BRR portfolio in excess of over 1.4 million. This was achieved the last 12 months. I'm also an upcoming author. I am a multiple business owner, and also I've had the opportunity of being featured on so many other business articles. I was recently featured about the last 12 months. I was featured in multiple business articles and also named Property Coach Disrupting 2021, which is really, really amazing. It just goes to tell you that if you can put work and put a lot of hard work to anything in life, anything can actually be achievable. So just an ordinary guy becoming extraordinary, and with the right passion, with the right information, I've been able to educate myself, educate others, and helping transform other people's life as well. It just feels good to know that people are acknowledging what you're doing. As I said before, I am an upcoming author for a book called The Rent to Rent Made Easy, which is due to launch, and there's been a lot of delays on this one, but it's due to launch pretty soon. Tonight's webinar, we're going to be talking about the rent to HMO strategy. We're going to be talking about deal sourcing. We're going to be talking about the BRRR strategy. Firstly, we're going to get into the rent to rent model. What is rent to rent? Rent to rent is a property strategy that gives you the ability to leverage on property that you do not own. Let's understand the HMO strategy of the rent to rent strategy. First of all, in order for you to make money from the rent to rent strategy, you've got to understand what it takes to rent a property and then rent that property out again. So on a nutshell, a rent to rent strategy means you find a landlord, all right, that's willing to give you their property via a letting agent or by themselves. And what you then do, you rent that property as a single unit, and with their permission, you rent that property out as a multiple unit, i.e. renting that property into an HMO property, which means a house of multiple occupation. And let's break it down a little bit further. It means you rent a property as a single unit, 3 or 4 bed property, and then you rent it out on a room by room basis. You generate income from that property, you pay your expenses, you pay the landlord, and whatever is left, you take home as your net or your gross net profit before the actual net of the business. It simply means that you rent a property as a single unit, and then you convert that property into a house of multiple occupation. This strategy has absolutely changed my life in the last 4 years. I started with 1 property, then I built gradually every other month into my first year, where I managed to secure personally over 8 properties in my portfolio, and also managed to source over 12 rent-to-rent property deals. This was way back in 2017/2018. What is HMO? HMO simply means house of multiple occupation, and I'm sure most of you must have become quite familiar with the word HMOs, because it's one of the most popular and famous strategy currently being used by a lot of individuals to build wealth and to build a portfolio for themselves. What's the essence of HMO? HMO means when you have 3 or more people living together who are unrelated, sharing amenities in that property, that is classified as an HMO. Usually they share facilities such as bathroom, toilet, kitchen, lounges, garden, entrance of the property. They share amenities. Now, some of these properties can become licensed and some can become unlicensed as well. When I mean the unlicensed HMO properties are usually 4-bedroom properties or 3-bedroom properties subject to different types of boroughs. And I'm going to break this down very, very quickly. I'll give you an example. In Lewisham or in Bromley, where I currently have some of my properties, when I have 3 or 4 people sharing a 4-bedroom house, some parts of Lewisham, I do not require to have any license at all. But that's not the case for a borough like Newham in London or a borough like Croydon. If I have a 4-bedroom property being occupied by 4 individuals, I would require some sort of license on that property. But for Bromley, if I also have 3 or 4 people sharing a property as, for example, a 4-bedroom or a 3-bedroom flat or a house, I do not require a license. This may vary. So when you get started in this strategy, you have to make sure you do your due diligence, you understand what you're getting into so that you're not caught short by the law, because there are hefty fines that normally are imposable if you do break the law or you don't understand the importance of having different types of licenses that apply to the number of individuals that occupies your property. But on a nutshell, an HMO property would ideally be a 5-bedroom property across the United Kingdom, which comes under the mandatory license, which means if you moment you have 5 people and above, 5 to 6 people, you automatically come under the mandatory licensing HMO category. Okay. Let me share with you what rent-to-rent HMOs can do for you. Here is one property that I have taken on just about 4 years ago during the beginning of my career in property. This property is located currently in Streatham, SW2. Rent to the landlord, £2,300. Number of bedroom in the property, 6-bedroom HMO, fully licensed HMO property. All fire doors, all safety measures put in place. Took on this deal for the last 4 years. I will be giving back this property probably in the next couple of months. But again, it's done his work. The gross on this property is £4,400 per calendar month. Every single month, this current property nets me about £1,325 a month. Now let's break it down by the year. So which means from a property that I'm currently renting from a landlord and I do not own that property, is currently bringing a £52,800 gross revenue into my business and giving me an average of £15,900 profit per year. Now, you may want to agree with me that some individuals in the UK probably take this home from a 9-to-5 job a month, maybe on a part-time basis or maybe even a full-time. An average UK salary ranges from £26,000 to around about £30,000 per year. So which means by having 2 of these particular properties, you can actually become financially free by quitting your job or sacking the boss or actually having a second sort of income having a second income from property in addition to your current job or your current employment. Now imagine this for again another minute. For a property that I don't own, for the term of 4 years, I have managed to generate a gross revenue of £211,200 for the entire term. Okay, for the entire term, this property has brought in over £200,000 for the last 4 years, which means for 4 years, for the property that I currently do not own, I'm able to generate over £63,000 from a property that I don't own. So think about this for a minute. You get educated, you know what you're doing, you go out there, you're going to take hard and serious work, and this starts to happen to your business, you're able to build a business of properties or portfolios that you currently don't own, and it generates you about £63,000. What is that going to mean for you? This is one of the beauty of rent to rent, and this is a real life case scenario of one of my rent to rent property among so many others. Just imagine what that can do for you for a minute. Obviously, it requires a lot of hard work. It requires you to pay at least a couple of hours a day to make this to happen. If you obviously can go through this, a day or 2 or 3, at least put in a lot of effort, month in and month out. Who knows? A month one, you can go out there and secure a deal like this for yourself. Over the past couple of months, we've had people come through our training programs, and they've gone out to manage to secure deals like this for themselves. So, what can HMO do for you? Exactly what is done for me over the last 4 years. Example, you get yourself educated. In month 1, you go out there, you secure your first rent-to-rent property, netting you around £600 per month. I'm just using one of my lowest case scenario to do this analysis. So now imagine month 3, you go out there, you take on another rent-to-rent property, and it's now generating you £1,200 per month. And you go out there month 6, you take on another rent-to-rent property, you find another landlord who is willing to work with you, or a letting agent who is looking to work with you, and then you have property number 3, each of them generating you at least £600 net per calendar month. So by month 6, you could put yourself in a position whereby you're generating £1,800 per calendar month. Let's just add 1 to it. And let's just say at month 9, you go out there, you do the same thing again, you repeat the process, and you now have 4 rent-to-rent properties in your portfolio, generating you £2,400. Would you want to agree with me that at some point, some people might be very, very comfortable enough to quit their job, or to feel confident of having a second solid income earnings, having a second solid income earnings from a property portfolio that they do not currently own? This strategy absolutely transformed my life. And this is what I was able to do. After the very first 12 months of me starting the rent-to-rent strategy, I was able to quit my Uber driver job, and I was able to start this full-time. A second year, I was able to double the numbers of properties that I had in my portfolio, ranging to the number, I think number 15. I managed to get to number 15 in my second year. And not just that, within my second year, I started making arrangements into buying my very first HMO property using the BRR strategy, which I'm going to come to towards the end of this presentation. Now, think about this for a minute. Imagine doing this for the next 12 months, all right? Understanding the strategy, having the knowledge, having the skill that you require to go out there and make this to happen for yourself. What would this mean for you? Would you want to build a life of your dream? Would you want to build a life of comfort? Do you want to build a life where you can travel the world? And again, especially right now, where we're going through this global pandemic, whereby people are losing their jobs month in and month out. Every single day, people are losing their job, being made redundant. Building something like this on the side for you, what would that mean to you? So just think about that for a minute, all right? Now, as I said before, over the last 4 years, I've been doing this, and I managed to build a massive portfolio for myself. And here is a screenshot from our property management software. And as you can see here, we've got a few properties on the screen. We've got Indigo Muse, we've got Ruben Street, we've got Backham Avenue, we've got Grove Park, a property in Grove Park. We've got another one in South Norwood. We have another one just there says Winleton Road. We have another one there on Beckenham Hatch, and many other more. All these properties are all HMO, 4 to 6 bedroom HMO properties, generating massive cash flow every single month, month in and month out. Imagine what this can do for you, or imagine how this can transform your personal life as well. And I haven't done this over the last couple of years. And as I said before, I managed to build a business, a rent-to-rent business, not generating over £500,000 in 3 years. Year one, we were able to do over £80,000 in revenue. Year two, we were able to do over £200,000 in revenue. And year three, we were able to do over £250,000 in turnover. And I'm not just somebody who likes to talk. I'm somebody who likes to walk the walk. I talk the talk and I walk the walk. And all this information are always valuable out there because I've shared my story throughout my entire property career. And by the grace of God, more to come. So if I can do this, if I did not have any sort of qualification, I did not know what property was over 4 years ago, and I've been able to go out there with hard work, with consistent taking of actions, and I've been able to build a rent-to-rent business for myself and also helping others now to do the same for themselves. You too right now can do the same for yourself. So guys, right now, if you think this is absolutely amazing, if you think this information I'm giving to you right now is absolutely powerful, I want you to go on the chat box and just type in the word powerful. Go on the chat box and just type in the word powerful. Type in on the chat box right now, powerful, guys. All right. If you believe this information is hitting you on the right spot and you're making sense of what I'm saying, just type in the word powerful. All right. I can only see one powerful, guys. I need some energy. I need some energy in the house. Guys, come on. Give me the word powerful, guys. All right. Great. I can see a few more coming in. Great. I can see a few more coming in. So over the last 3.5 to 4 years, over the last 3 years, we've declared our account. We are now in our year 4. And the property strategy is just been absolutely amazing. Any one of you can listen to me right now can go out there and do the same for yourself. Great. So we're going to go into session 2. Session 2 is all about deal sourcing. And I'm going to be giving you a few key points and guidance about deal sourcing. Now, first of all, what is deal sourcing? Deal sourcing is finding discounted property deals, all right, that you can source to property investors in order for them to get high yield on their investments. All right. These properties are properties that can be found anywhere on different types of portals. What you have to do is to package it and then sell it to them for a fee. This is one of the easiest ways to get started in property without having to financially commit or having to financially, invest money in that particular property strategy, other than the fact that some of you may want to get yourself educated, or you may want to get mentorship, or you may want to get coached or trained, or whatsoever the case might be. But the beauty of the deal sourcing strategy is that it gives you the ability to just get your knowledge, do the hard work, and then you get paid for it. You're basically getting paid for the skill that you've acquired by finding investors good and very juicy deals. Ideally, you're getting paid for your time, your effort, all right, of sourcing a property. And let me break this down very, very, very quickly. In the inception of my property journey, one of the things that I did was I found a rent-to-rent deal. And when I found a rent-to-rent deal, I didn't have the actual funds to take on that first rent-to-rent deal. What I did was I packaged it. I knew the deal was gonna be able to give. It was gonna be able to allow an investor to make high yield, high return on investment. So, for example, this particular deal was going to give us £1,000. Well, I didn't have the cost of investing into that particular deal. It was going to cost me about £8,000 to put into the deal. So I packaged it, provided the information to the investor, i.e. someone who had already got themselves educated in how to do rent to rent, and they took that deal off me and they paid me over £1,000 self together, obviously having also some sort of agreement in between both of them that allows me to communicate, or that allows myself to receive those money on behalf of the actual letting agent, and then passing those funds across to the letting agent once a deal was agreed between both of them. And this actual strategy, some of my students have been able to smash it really, really, massively, and some of them are doing some crazy numbers as we speak. Now, in order for you to be a deal sourcer, in order for you to be a compliant deal sourcer, there are tools you're going to need. And one of the things you're going to need for you to be a deal sourcer is, first of all, you're going to need to be set up as a business. And you're going to need to set up your compliance. You need to be compliant in order for this to happen. You're going to need property deals. You're going to need to find property deals effortlessly and tirelessly on different portals. For example, places like Zoopla, Rightmoves, and so on. You're going to be able to go on these different types of portals, or you're going to be able to use different software and tools to find leads, maybe even running campaigns and so on. You're going to need to have investors' leads. So if once you're compliant and once you have the deals, you need to have investors. You need to have a list of individuals who will pay you a fee for doing all the work for them. You're going to need network. You're going to need a network of people who are looking for this type of deals. You're going to need a network of people who will agree to pay your fee for this to happen. You're also going to need a CRM. You're going to need contracts. What kind of contract do you need to protect you so that even by the time the investor views the property, you're not caught out, or you have to protect yourself. Because if you don't protect yourself, I have seen it over the past where deal sourcers are caught out, then the investor and the letting agents go out and do the deal between themselves, and then the deal sourcer doesn't get paid. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. In fact, at the beginning stages of my rent-to-rent journey and deal sourcing journey, at some point, I did have similar things happen. But again, by having knowledge and skill, I was able to prevent this from happening, and I got paid. So you're going to need a CRM, you're going to need contract, you're going to need knowledge, and you're going to need skill. You're going to need to understand how to talk as a deal sourcer. You're going to need to understand and master the language of a deal sourcer. So those are the few key things that you need to have as a deal sourcer. So here is one of our success stories, Chris Richards. Chris Richards is a student who came through during the very first lockdown to one of our 2-day training program. And you can see the photo there. That was the online, the 2-day training program was organized online on Zoom. And Chris Richards came through. Between April last year to around this year, Chris has been able to generate over £20,000 of revenue, £20,000 plus of revenue, selling deals between £1,000 to £3,000. And I'm just, this strategy is absolutely amazing. So Chris has been able to generate over £20,000 from deals that he didn't physically have to take on as a rent-to-rent himself. What he did was to find other individuals who probably are too busy at work, but they understand the strategy, and Chris literally just passed the deal to them. And he got paid a fee of between £1,000 to £3,000. How many of you would like to sell this kind of deals for yourself? How many of you would like to generate income from deals selling, from not even taking them on by yourself, having to go through the HMO compliance, having to go through the whole refurbing of dressing the room, staging the property, doing property views, and so on and so forth. All these strategies I'm currently talking about is absolutely amazing strategy, but with deal sourcing, you're not financially making any commitment in terms of paying the landlord's rent or offering the landlord secured or guaranteed month in or month out. This strategy is absolutely amazing. And I'm still currently very active sourcing deals myself, but it's just that at the moment, I only source deals to those who are within my network. So deal sourcing, absolutely amazing strategy. And if you also think right now, this is amazing, I just want you to type the word following. Type in the word following. If you're currently following what I'm saying, just type in the word following. Type in the word following, all right? Great. So I'm gonna be answering some of the questions later, guys. So I can see a lot of people asking questions right now. I can see Ryan. I can see your questions. I'm gonna be going through the Q&A session after the presentation. So, like I said before, you need to package the deal. Here is the PDF report of how you can actually package a deal. When you package a deal, before someone pays you £3,000, they're not just going to hand over £3,000 to you. You need to be able to give them the report of why they should pay you that £3,000. You should be able to give them all the data analysis. You should be able to give them the photograph of the picture of the property. You should be able to give them the area research. You should be able to tell them the amenities that are located around the property. You should be able to tell them when the capital invested is going to be paid back. You should be able to tell them what is their return on investment. You should be able to give them all these reports together. They're not just paying you for introducing them only. They want the detailed PDF report of what is entailed in that property transaction. So you must be able to put in a template for the investor to look at. And during our 2 days training program, we usually will go in depth into this and just show you how you can bring all this information together so you can go out there, in fact, as soon as possible and start selling deals. All right. So if you're still here and you're following, I want to go back in the chat box. I want you to type in the word following. Type in the word following, guys. Type in the word following. I want this to be as engaging as we can. I want to see the word following, guys. Type in the word following. A lot of people come into webinars and they just relax. I want this to be very, very interactive, guys. All right. So let's see the word following. Great. I'm seeing the word following. Fantastic. Great. So how many of you right now would love to package your deals as soon as possible? If you'd like to package your deals as soon as possible, type in A player. All right. Type in A player. Great. So we're going to go into the last session of today's webinar. Like I said, I didn't want to take too much of the time. We're going to go into the last session. The last session of tonight's webinar is talking about the BRR strategy. First of all, what is BRRR? The BRR simply means buy, refurb, rent, refinance, and repeat. And I'm going to share with you the repeat part of the BRRR. And all these strategies are strategies that I personally am still using up to very date, and strategies that absolutely transformed my life to build a £2 million business just within the last 4 years. All right. And I've got multiple deal pipelines that I'm currently working in, regardless of COVID. And I'm going to be sharing and going through that with you guys. Now, let us understand what is buy, refurbish, refinance. What is BRR? Let's define it. The BRR strategy simply means a strategy that allows you to buy a property, add value, then you refinance the property for a higher valuation. That's number one. Number two, you want to be buying a property at a lower value or a mid value, or maybe even the actual market price. But one of the things you have to be aware of is that you have to be looking for a property with the potential for you to add in value. Very, very, very important. You have to buy a property with a potential to add in value to that property in order for you to successfully refinance your capital invested. Because without you refinancing and getting the actual valuation in the, that you're looking for, you could be you can get yourself burnt. The strategy in itself is far different from the standard purchase. Most people, when they want to buy a property, they go and get a mortgage. Ideally, with a BRR strategy, it's not advisable for you to use a standard buy-to-let mortgage or a standard mortgage to buy it. Because when you do buy some properties, when you buy properties with a mortgage, you're not allowed to refinance for a minimum of 6 months and over. And the cost of remortgaging a property within 6 months is usually very high. So you want to be using specific strategy, for example, bridging finance, angel finance, and most of these details we go through maybe during the Q&A session, or for any one of you who like to know more, you can come through to our 2 days training program where we break things down to you. It's a strategy that requires a lot of speed, a lot of skill, and you need knowledge to make it work. Because at this particular point in time, you're physically buying the property. And guys, if you remember, when we started with the rent-to-rent HMO strategy. Then we went through to the sourcing strategy. With the rent-to-rent HMO strategy, you're renting to rent the property out again. With the BRR strategy, you are not buying any property, you're not renting any property, you're passing deals to investors to get higher return on investment, and you're being paid a fee. But with the BRR strategy, you are actually buying properties. So you're investing capital, you're investing cash into it. So you've got to know that it's very important for you to have the knowledge, you need to have the skill, and above all, you need to have the speed for this to happen. And that is just how simple the BRR strategy is. And the BRR strategy, again, over the last 12 months, I have been able to recycle over 300,000 pounds just doing the BRR strategy. And just by doing the BRR strategy alone, I've also been able to now raise just in excess of over 300,000 pounds in the last 12 months as well. Now, just imagine for a minute, let's just, go back, reflect a little bit, and just imagine for a minute, knowing all this strategy, the rent-to-rent strategy, the sourcing strategy, the BRR strategy, what can this do for you? For me, it has changed my life completely. It has changed my life completely. And let's break a few stuff down. Imagine having access to a 50K or 100,000 pounds, and you're able to recycle this cash within a 3, 6, or maybe even a 9 months period. And you still own the assets, you own the property, and you still have the cash available for you to go again. And I'm going to break that down on my next slide. Now, imagine, all right, going and refinancing your current home, and then recycling that cash through the BRR strategy, which means you go out there, you buy a property that needs refurbishment, or you buy a property that needs improvement, or you buy a property that you can increase the value. Example would be buying a 2-bedroom house, all right, all right, probably end of terrace with a space and opportunity to build another story extension on the side of that property and probably going into the loft. Imagine buying a house at 200,000 pounds and investing around 100,000 pounds to 150,000 pounds, and that property getting valued at 500,000 pounds. And you're able to refinance that property and pulling out the capital that you've used to buy the property, to refurbish the property. You've added value to that property, and you got that money from the money that you probably refinanced from your current home, if you currently own your home. Or maybe you've gone to borrow, or you've leveraged through other people, through network, JV partnership, and you raise that money and you're able to use the BRR strategy. This strategy right now is the bomb. So I have to use that language. It's a crazy, why am I swearing? The strategy is just insane. Just to tell you how excited I am about the strategy, so I had to lose my cool. This strategy is absolutely changed my life. And I'm currently doing a project which I presumably would have a projected valuation when it's completed in the region of about 850,000 pounds refinance. Now, imagine if you can understand the power of raising cash. When I started as an Uber driver, I didn't have 20,000 pounds in my bank account. I didn't even have 5K in my bank account. But by consistent knowledge, by consistent hard work, I have now done deals, multiple deals, £1 million deals, where I have not used any of my own money. I've used investors' finance, I've used builders' finance, I've leveraged on my credit cards, I've leveraged on my personal loans, you name it. But I've been able to build a business. I've now been able to build a portfolio of over 1.4 million. So if I can do it, you too can do it. It's just about knowing the right information and having the right guidance, and you can do this. Here's an example of one of my current deal pipeline. 1311 Stratford Road. This current property was purchased for 280,000 pounds. The fees, all right, fees, for example, valuation, legal fees, I'm going to be converting into a 5-bedroom HMO, and architect, party wall, broker's fee, insurance, planning permission, you name it, all together costing me around 25,000 pounds. Currently, there is no stamp duty. You're only paying a surcharge because of the current stamp duty holiday. All right. The cost of refurbishing this property is going to be 100,000 pounds. By the time I finish, acquiring this asset and going through all the building process, the total cost of acquiring this property is going to be 417,000 pounds. Deposit I needed for this property deal was 93,000 pounds. Stamp duty and fees for 37,000 pounds. Building cost £100,000. However, I have got a strong relationship with my builder, so I only need to give him 50% of the cost, and it's going to completely build the house, refurbish the house, give me about 2 to 3 months to refinance. Then I'm going to refinance the property. I'm going to pull the money out. On this particular deal, I will be investing around £180,000. But when the property is fully refinanced using my spreadsheet analyzer or my deal analyzer, I would only have £23,000 left in this particular deal. Guys, you want to agree with me right now? How many of this deal can you go and do in a year? Let's just assume you go through 6 months, which means you can do 2 of these deals a year using the same cash that you used on your very first property. This strategy can actually allow you to start owning properties with zero, literally zero amount. I call it owning property with no money. Property ownership with no money is what I call it. It's just about understanding how to do it and do it very, very correctly. And I'm going to give you more examples. This is one of my property deals that I used the BRR strategy for. This particular property was a property that I personally used to live in. This house. I lived in this property. It was a house that I owned. And using a specific strategy, I was able to bridge this entire asset. I bridged it. I bought the house cash outright because the lender would not allow me to convert my previous home into an investment. So I used a bridging finance, I used investors finance, and I used a builder's finance. But what did I do? I purchased out the property cash outright, which allows me to go in there and convert the house into a 6-bedroom property. It was a 3-bedroom property, converted into a 6-bedroom ensuite, no money down from the building works, £283,000 mortgage left, build cost £153,000, cost and fees £45,000. Just June last year, this property was revalued at £700,000, means I was able to pull out over £267,000 cash out. This same property is now generating over £4,000 plus per gross income per calendar month, which gives me a net of over £2,000 per month. Imagine this for a minute. If you know how to raise money, or you can raise money, how many of this property would you need? By just one property alone is actually almost now competing with the average UK salary. Now, the question to you is, what can this do for you? Using momentum investing, I was able to go in straight away into my second deal. And here you go. Just again, last year, I was able to purchase my second property last year. Again, a 3-bedroom semi-detached property in Bromley, currently be converted into a 6-bedroom HMO. Again, no money down by myself. I mean, when I mean no money down of my own capital to refurbish the work, but I used momentum. From the first deal, I was able to use that money to the £260,000 that I have. I've paid off my previous debt. I was able to pay the cost of the deposit for this property of £450,000. Purchase price was £450,000. The build cost is currently about £167,000. 6-bedroom ensuite with 2 massive kitchens, 1 in the loft, 1 downstairs. The other cost and legal fees, £20,000. The deposit was £180,000. End valuation is going to value in the region of £850,000. I'm going to be able to pull out £355,000 when it's completely finished. Monthly net cash flow is looking in the region of £5,200, which will give me a profit, net profit about £3,000. Again, £30,000 per annum. What can this do for you? These are live deals. And for those I mentor, for those that go through our 12 months program and our 6 months program, they have the opportunity to physically come and attend and see what's happening in most of this property. Here is the current project, and this is how it currently looks like. And we've completely ripped it back to bricks, You know, there was no loft extensions. We've now put in a double dormer loft extension. We've gotten our ground floor story extension to the side, and we've literally ripped it out completely. It's like almost be like a new house. And when this property is finished, it's going to value in the region of £850,000. And again, staying consistent. Haven't been able to do all of this over the last 3 to 4 years. Just in December, I was able to personally move into a 5-bedroom detached home for me and my family. And I currently drive a very good car. And again, if I can do it, guys, most of you listening to me right now can do the same for yourself. All right. So stay consistent, put in the hard work, get yourself educated, take action. Don't be a dabbler. Don't be someone who goes to webinars all the time and go to trainings all the time. Be an action taker, do the hard work, and trust me, it will surely pay off. And this is absolutely been what I've been doing the last 4 years. And I've been able to mentor so many individuals to success. And I'm going to now share a few of the success stories with you in a couple of more slides ahead. Now, in taking action, one of the things I always say to people is don't be a dabbler. Get started. Get up and running. Get yourself educated and get up and running. Listen, it can happen to you. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you. All right? One of the things is staying consistent and putting the work in. If you're not putting the work in, it's not going to happen. But when you put in the hard work, definitely you can build a business in property using none of your own money, but having the right type of knowledge. All right? Now, think about this for a minute. Just think about this for a minute as well. Think about how would your life change with an extra £30,000 of income per year from maybe properties that you don't own, i.e. rent to rent. What about sourcing? Imagine doing sourcing and you're bringing in another £30,000 alongside your full-time job. Would that be enough for you to quit your job? Would that be enough for you to become financially free? Or would that be enough for you to save enough for you to start buying properties in a year's time or in 2 years' time? Because all this knowledge, all this information you gain are all transferable. All right? How would this improve your personal economy? How would this change your life? How would this improve your personal economy? Would this take stress? Generating extra 30K a year, would it take stress? Would it improve your personal circumstances? Will it remove financial pressure away from you? Will it secure you of an income, especially now that people are being, laid off from work? People are being put on redundant, people are being fired, you name it. All right? Would this change your life? Just think about this for a minute, guys, okay? Will more money give you time to do what you love? Maybe when the COVID is over, travel abroad, go on holiday, be on the beachside, sipping pina colada, which I really love. So would this change your life? Would you be able to spend more time would you be able to spend more time from those that you love? One of the things property has really done for me in the last 4 years, I remember when I used to drive 100 hours a week. My kids didn't see me. They didn't see my face because I was really, really working hard. I'm somebody I call myself an extremist. The reason why I call myself an extremist is because whatever I do it really, really hard. I put all in. When I was an Uber driver, I was driving 100 hours a week. Now I'm a property investor. I'm absolutely smashing it. So if I can do it, you too can do it. You've got to put in the work. You've got to put in passion. You've got to do it for you. Don't do it for someone. Do it for you. If I can do it, you can do it. Just to quickly run through how we can help you. For those of you who are interested, we run a 2-day training program where we're going to cover the BRR strategy, the sourcing strategy, the rent to HMO model. All right, for those of you who are interested. So if you're interested, Kevin is going to be dropping a link now on the chat box. Fill in a consultation form, and we will be giving you a call. And we currently have a 2-day training program coming up next week, the 5th and the 6th of February. And also, if you're interested in investing as well, again, fill in the form. We'll be happy to talk to you. Our 2-day training program, we provide you with the 99% information. The 1% is completely down to you. And finally, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I see on social media every single day, somebody do one rent-to-rent deal and they start getting excited and thinking, oh, I'm financially free. I've actually seen a few people sell just 2 or 3 rent-to-rent deals in a month and generated about £2,000-3,000, and they say they are now financially free. For me, financial freedom is when you have a recurring income for at least a minimum of 12 months. Then you can declare yourself financially free. Although some gurus out there are misleading individuals about financial freedom for me is having recurring income of excess of your expenses, and it is constant for at least 12 months. Then you can classify yourself as financially free. As I said before, I was an Uber driver. In 2017, 2018, I stopped being an Uber driver. That was because I was able to hit my goals, I was able to hit my target, and I became financially free. That was 1 year after doing rent-to-rent in the real hard way. So this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, guys. You need to put a lot of effort, you need to put a lot of work, and trust me, the result will pay you off. The result is, the light at the end of the tunnel is massive. If I can do it, guys, you too can go out there and can do it. And as I said before, imagine this, guys. English was not my first language. When I first came to this country, I couldn't speak that much of a good English. But over the last couple of years, I've lived here. My kids speak good English, so they teach me how to speak good English. And I communicate a lot with people out there, and I speak English now. So for those of you here, probably you're born here, probably you're, regardless of the color that you are, if someone like me, an immigrant from Nigeria, 15 years later can become a portfolio millionaire, I don't see why no one can, I don't see why no one cannot do it. Every single one of us has got the potential. You can do more, you can be more, you can achieve greater heights. Here are a few testimonials from our bootcamp. Here is Crystal Jade, and she attended our bootcamp a couple of years, about a year ago, and she managed to secure our deals. We've got Nick, we've got Moranica, we've got Kevin. Kevin was one of my very first ever mentee, and now he's my business partner at the Property Wealth Education. We have Isaiah, we have Femi, we have Evans, Willie, we have Tammy, and we have a lot of 5-star review of those that have been through our training program. Also Greg and Shane as well. So visit our website. You can view some of these testimonials, or go to my YouTube channel. During our 2 days training program, we're going to teach you how to find the opportunities. We're going to go through to securing the deals. We're going to go through understanding your numbers. We're going to go through the due diligence aspect of the business. We give you our blueprint, our roadmap on how to do this and do it correctly. And also, we share lights and we shine a light on how to grow and how to scale, and above all, how to create the right type of mindset that allow you to win, and to win really, really big. Like I said, guys, any one of us has got the biggest potential in us. Your best year yet is still here and available. So guys, let's smash 2021. Every single one of you's got what it takes to go out there and build a portfolio of your dream. During the 2 days training bootcamp, we're going to be talking about also our 5 simple system around how to find properties for rent-to-rents, how to find property for sourcing, and also how to find the opportunities around the BRR strategy, how to prepare the properties for Hmos, and how to prepare the properties to make sure it's compliant, and where to find your tenants and how to manage your tenants for those of you who specifically want to focus on the Hmos strategy. Currently, our 2-day training program is offered on Zoom. It's offered on Zoom right now. Kevin has already posted on the chat group. So fill in the link, and we'll be talking to you just to find out where you are in your journey, whether you're the right client for us, and whether we're the right trainer or mentor to take you on your journey. And we want to have that conversation. We want to point you in the right direction. So if you're interested in going through an advanced training, definitely fill out the form right now, and we'll be able to discuss with you whether you want to come to our next 2 days training bootcamp, which is next week, Friday and Saturday, or whether it's our upcoming event. We really want to talk to you. We really want to have a conversation with you. So guys, I'm going to go through the Q&A session now, and we've come to the end of the webinar, and hope I haven't taken too much of the time. And I really want to, congratulate over 18 of you right now who stayed to the end of this entire program. So at this particular point in time, I'm going to first of all quickly go into the Q&A session to go and answer the questions. So I'm going to take the first question from Ryan. And Ryan says, where do you find landlords that is willing to allow you to do rent to rent? Well, one of the things I always say is landlords are everywhere. All right, they are everywhere. You have online portals, you have HMO register, you can run campaigns, you can run ads, you can post leaflets, and so on. So all these tools, all these portals out there, you're able to use them to find your landlords. Second question from Ryan. He says, why would they turn their property into an HMO themselves? Why wouldn't they turn their property into an HMO themselves and source the tenant and make money themselves? Because they don't know how to. It's very simple. All right, because they don't know how to do it. They don't know the opportunity. They don't know how much you can make in profit. That's why they're not doing it. And I hope that answers your question, Ryan. And we got two Ryans. Okay, another Ryan. The other Ryan says, what do you do? What do BRR do you go for? Commercial valuation? Okay. Well, I have had to go for brick and mortar at the minute. I'm using brick and mortar valuation currently with all my buy refurbish finance projects. The reason why is because the current places where I'm investing or currently my current gold mine areas at the moment, by the time I buy a property at £450,000, all right, and I increase the number of bedrooms, the quality of the property, automatically I start to compete with a normal detached or 6-7 bedroom houses within my gold mine area, which is normally in the region of like 800,000, 700,000, 750, 800, 850 into the millions. All right. So it's all about gold mine area. Now, most lenders wouldn't value your property if they are not en suite as a commercial value on a commercial valuation basis. That's number one. And number two, most lenders will not value your property on a commercial valuation if your property is not a 7-bedroom property, i.e. a sui generis HMO type. So when you have 7 people, you cross to the next stage of a HMO property. For example, you have the mandatory license, then you have the sui generis. So the sui generis is when you have 7 and more people, which is highly more regulated. So with those type of HMO properties, you can actually go for a commercial valuation. And I hope that answers the question. Another question from Ryan again. Wow, Ryan, I really love your energy. You're just fired up. I love when people ask a lot of questions like this. Great. So it says, when you raise JV finance, what do you offer your investor? 50% of the cash flow or 50% of equity? Well, for me, it all depends on what your JV partnership is trying or what your JV partner is trying to look for, or what that particular JV venture partner is after. Now, I'll give you a very simple example, and I'll break this down very simply. Now, you can actually find a joint venture partner who you're willing to offer a 50% return on equity and 50% on cash flow, subject to the fact that he will finance the entire deal. So let's just imagine you're buying a buy refurbish refinance property project. You're going into a buy refurbish refinance project. You don't have to put a penny from your pocket. He's going to put down the deposit. He's going to put down the legal costs, all the fees, and he's going to pay for the cost of refurbishing the project. And all you're just doing is you've gotten yourself educated, all right? With all your education, you're owning the 50% stake of an asset without putting none of your money in. For me, I just think that's a no-brainer. But for example, if a joint venture partnership is going to give you 50% of the cash investment, or you're going to bring you 50% of that cash investment, for me, I think your intellectual assets should still come in. I personally would not do a 50% joint venture partnership with any investor, because it's taken me 4 years plus to learn this skill. So my skill is equivalent to whatever cash that anybody has got. So I should have a fair share of that. So ideally, I would not offer my cash in if I need to share 50%. Again, these deals can be structured on a case-by-case basis, and I hope that answers your question. Ryan, again, wow, I love your energy, man. Like you're just keeping me fired up. So interest only or capital repayment? I'm going for interest only. I don't do capital repayment. The reason why I don't do capital repayment is that I don't want to, as an investor, you don't really want to be, paying down the loan. You really want to be servicing it because what you're in there for, you're in there for capital appreciation. So for example, if you buy a house today for £100,000, in 5 years time, not even 5 years time, in 4 years time, that property could be valued in the region of £150,000. So you spend £100,000 to buy a house today. In 2 to 3 years time, that property could be valued for £150,000. Then why would you want to be paying so much back? Okay, because when you're paying repayment, your interest is going to be so high that you're not going to be making so much profit. So ideally, as an investor, for me, and my opinion, and currently what I'm doing is I only use interest-only mortgages. I don't pay capital. I don't pay down the loan on the property. I only service the interest because every other year, every other 2 or 3 or 5 years, I want to just keep refinancing the property and putting out my money and doing more investments. The more properties I have, the more wealth I'm building. So why would I want to pay down my debt when I can actually use more debt to create more wealth? The rich of this world don't pay down their debt. What they do is they service their debt, okay, and they create more wealth. And that's how to create it. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and that's going to be it. I got one question from Gilbert. So Gilbert said, how do you know which are the correct contracts to use for HMO? Well, get yourself educated. The way you can know how to use the right type of contract, especially using on a step-by-step basis, you need to get yourself educated. All right. The last question from Gilbert. It says, how do you qualify a bridging loan? How do you qualify a bridging loan? And how you meant you have to own a property before in the past? Well, when you're using the bridging loan, all right, ideally, you don't specifically have to own your first home. All right, you don't specifically have to own your first home. You can actually jump on a bridge as a first-time buyer, use a bridging loan, acquire your asset, refinance the asset into a term loan. A term loan means that you're getting into a mortgage, all right, and you will still qualify for a bridging loan. Although sometimes when you're refinancing, depending on the product you're refinancing into, so if you're refinancing into an HMO product, well, some lenders may want to say you don't have an experience for you to do an HMO buy-to-let. You have to go to a single let first. So again, these are things that we would cover during our 2 days training program. And I hope that answers your question. And lastly, he says, what's the last question there? Is this the best method for buying? Well, depending on the situation, for me, I've used bridging loans multiple times. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy to use. It's quick to use. And you know, I currently buy properties that I'm adding value to. So it just makes sense because I'm going there, buying straightly, and I'm not being asked too many questions when I'm using a bridging loan. If I was to use a mortgage, I can't buy a property and completely refinance that property and looking to pull out my money in 6 months. It's impossible without penalties. So in fact, there are no lenders that will allow you to actually buy a property with a mortgage, refinance the property within 6 months. Is impossible right now. So the stress isn't worth it. But when you buy with a bridge, or you buy with cash, or you buy with investors finance, or you buy with JV, or a high net worth individual as a JV venture partnership, then you can actually refinance straight into a term loan, which is a mortgage. So I hope that answers your question. For those of you who would like to talk to us about our 2 days training program, do fill in the form that Kevin is currently posted on the chat group, and we'll be happy to have a chat with you. So I'm just going to quickly go into the chat box to see if we've got any more questions on the chat box, and then we're going to call this an end. So guys, I mean, we still have a lot of people here right now. For those of you who are already filling the form, if you're an A player and you fill in the form already and you want to have a consultation call with myself or my business partner, Kevin, and just type in the word A player. Type in the word A player so that we know how many of you we're going to be speaking to. Type in the word A player. For those of you who want to know more, and those of you who want to get yourself educated and go through the step-by-step process, come into our 2 days training program, type in the word A players. Let's identify the A players in the house. Let's identify the A players in the house. I'm going to have a sip of water. Where's my chat box? Where is it? Okay, I lost that. I'm gonna stop sharing.